You need to understand that they don't have all the answers, and in many
I
cases
know
they
they
don't even know what they're. Huh?
I know they don't, but you keep on having this
Okay.
like weird fucking idea that I wholly support the government. But
So if it's
the thing
possible
is,
to create a better
this is the difference
society,
between.
why do you back these people, man?
Okay, because so you don't believe any of the fucking statements that you say.
No, I believe in using incentives to deter these things, Sondsol. But you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be like competent. You've got to be thorough. These are things the American government is not.
Bye-bye.
You couldn't have dragged me in with them, Sondsol.
Listen, I don't like having debate partners. Okay, I like one-on-ones because then
Well,
if they say something, well, listen, if they say something that if they disagree, if they say something that I disagree with, all right, should I have to fucking defend that shit?
Can I just say she's like, oh, my goal is to mitigate human suffering or whatever. Did you hear her when she said that?
Yeah.
That's like, oh my god, yeah, mitigate human suffering. Yeah, what about the people coming from Guatemala and Honduras at record figures coming into the U.S.? What about the conservatives that have to deal with these people? What about their suffering? Does anybody care about the conservative patriots of America with their suffering? Nobody cares about their suffering.
Do you suffer when a Honduran comes over to the United States?
Yeah, we've got to deal with them in our country.
You don't have to dox
illegally.
yourself. Hold on, you don't have to dox yourself. But do you even live anywhere where there's a lot of illegal immigrants?
Well, I mean, do they care about the suffering when they're trying to take guns away from honest tax-paying people and censor them online? When they try to take your guns, flood your communities with dangerous foreign.
How can they take your guns away? Wait, tell me how the Hondurans are taking away your guns.
Oh, well, they vote a certain way, but
how is a Honduran going to vote if they're an illegal immigrant?
The point is, I'm saying the Democratic Party is trying to take your guns, bring dangerous people into your communities. They're trying to censor you online. They're trying to make sure that you don't oppose them in this operation they've set up with the rigged economy, the public out of control, the dystopian nature of the society. Yes, don't oppose the American government. Just go along with it all, folks. It's really working out for the American people.
I think the American people are doing generally fine.
Sondsol, the American people are being defrauded by everybody and their mother. They're so subject to systems and a society out of control.
No matter what society we live in, we're going to be subject to systems.
Sondsol, we're living in a country where like everybody's different from each other in major ways. The government's so corrupt and it just doesn't know how to produce good outcomes for the people. The government has just the worst of the worst involved in the American government. Like, for instance, I'm just going to start naming phony politicians, and you tell me what you think about them, okay? What about Gavin Newsom, for instance? What about Pritzker? You know Governor Pritzker? Pritzker of Illinois. Have you heard of that guy?
I've heard that he's a governor of Illinois.
That dude needs to be hit with the fat tax. That's what I'd hit you with, Sondsol. I'd hit you guys. I'd hit all of you guys with the Nadler.
How much do you think I weigh, buddy?
I'd hit you guys with the morbid tax, Sondsol. The big.
You think I'm morbidly obese?
80% tax on the bigger people, Sondsol.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, what were we supposed to talk about? I don't even remember what all the things we were supposed to talk about.
So what's going on with Russia? America's $80 billion deep in this endeavor, and what have we got to show for it? Only more.
What do we have to throw? No, I can tell you.
Can I just say, we're paying $80 billion. Sondsol, why don't the Europeans pay? And now Zelensky's begging Israel. Oh, no, can I just finish? Zelensky's begging Israel now, and the American government, they're begging Israel, we can't pay. Israel, can we get some money? Israel's like dealing with the Islamic Jihad, trying to blow up Jerusalem with rockets. And the American government and Zelensky are crying to them,
okay, hold on.
Get more weapons? Can we get more money?
Really quick, are we going to have a conversation, or are you going to preach at me again?
I'm just
remember how we talked in we had like a nice little like back and forth a second ago. Remember yesterday in DMs when we were talking, I was like, you're not really capable of having a conversation. You just kind of like railroad the conversation. You bring up a million points.
Okay, answer something. Address what I just said there.
So like, let's talk about like the money that we're paying towards like weapon shipments to Ukraine. I think that that's fine. What do we have to show for it? We have a world where we're not going to tolerate just like random like land grabs from countries like we're in the fucking Middle Ages.
You
like,
think what Russia's doing is you describe that as a random land grab? That's so dishonest, man. Holy fuck! If you're
what did they do? Wait.
With the phony nonsense.
Okay, well let me ask you this: what did they just do with? What did they just do with all those referendums?
They were voting for. Are you the vote? You're talking about the voting?
Yeah, the voting so that they could annex those
in Ukraine.
Yeah.
See if they wanted to be part of Russia. Yes, the territories or whatever were take their vote.
Do you think that they were legitimate?
Well, I mean, I mean.
Okay, be honest.
Who's to say? A million people have different opinions, but certainly,
what do you think? I'm
Russia
asking you what
you. Legitimate.
Okay, no, I don't even think they think they're
the American
legitimate.
Government doesn't think they're very.
What do you think? I'm asking you what you think because we're the ones having the conversation, right?
I think Russia will probably use those to say that. It's our territory, and now we're fighting.
So what would you call it? What would you call it when you invade a country and then have a phony referendum inside of that inside of like certain parts of that country in order for those countries to those like areas to then be annexed by your country? Would you call that a land grab?
No, I wouldn't say that it's just a land grab. I would not call it a land grab. No,
what would you
I would
call
say
it?
that they're taking back their territory that used to be part of the USSR because they cannot.
Okay, the USSR is no longer a country. The USSR is no longer a country. The country of Russia, the Russian Federation, recognized Ukraine as its own independent country. Like what? Just like 25 years ago?
A land grab would be like America like grabbing Mexico or somewhere, or like America trying to invade Canada or something. We've got nothing to do with Canada, but
yeah, and Russia right now, yeah, guess what? Russia right now, Ukraine has never been a part of the country of the Federation of Russia, right?
No, yes, I agree. They've been together in the USSR, which you guys.
Yeah, but the USSR collapsed. It's no longer a country. That just
doesn't exist to you guys.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. Wait. Where does the USSR?
No.
Where does the USSR exist, except for in your imagination and in the past?
It exists in history, no?
It exists in history. Wait. Does the country of like wasn't there like a country called like where the Visigoths came from? Right? That country no longer exists?
No idea. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe.
There was a country called Aragon, and that country no longer exists, but you would never say that,
Soviet
like...
Union. The Ukraine was in the former Soviet Union, and moreover...
The former! So that word is so operative. Former.
Okay, so you tell me, Sondsol, how far are we willing to go in this endeavor? Putin's talking about nuclear weapons. Are you willing to have your family nuked? We'll start there.
Okay, do you think... Okay, so I guess there's like two parts of this question.
No.
There's two parts of this question. Number one, do I think that Russia is going to use nuclear weapons? And two, do I think that they're going to use those nuclear weapons on the United States? Number one...
Are you willing to have your family nuked for Ukraine to join NATO? Why
this
are we
isn't,
even
this is
involved
not
in Eastern European
answer
affairs?
to this. The answer to this is not a yes or no question. Because number one, I don't think that Russia is ever going to use nuclear weapons because they will be like, they won't have any allies left. Even China will fucking sell them out for that shit. Okay. Even India will sell them out for that shit. And India and China are already like not super enthused with Russia as it is right now, because guess what? These sham referendums that even China and India and even Serbia, who is like Russia's best friend in Europe, like none of these places are okay with it. None of them fucking supported it, right?
What did China say about the referendums? What did China say about them?
They don't support them.
China hasn't been giving aid to Ukraine, have they?
No, they've been
Russia. China.
They have been backing Russia, but they stopped. They backed Russia up until they started holding fake fucking referendums in Luhansk and Donetsk and all these places.
Oh, yeah, they're just fake referendums. It's the American government. You
wouldn't even say that they were real referendums. You paused when I asked you specifically.
Well, I mean,
what do you think?
I'm saying I don't necessarily support the American government and what they say whose territory is whose. The American government says whose territory is whose.
But you do support Russia saying whose territory is whose. Got it.
They've got $80 billion invested in this endeavor. So you didn't answer the question about the nuclear, but
right. No, I did. I said number one. No, I'll answer you. I'll answer you. Number one,
Okay.
I don't think that they're going to use nuclear weapons. And even if they did, I don't think they're going to use them on the United States. Okay. So no, I'm not willing to have my family.
That's like a dodge, but okay.
No, because I'm not willing to have my family nuked for fucking Ukraine. But number one, they're not going to nuke America because America has like 5 billion nukes as well, and they're going to fucking like. Listen, as big as Russia is, guess what? It's not the entire country doesn't hold their population. It's a very small segment of their.
Is it right the American people have paid like 10 times over for this what Europe's paid? Is that right? Do you know that? Have you heard that before?
It doesn't matter to me.
Trump spoke about this as last.
Sure, rally. I don't care.
We're paying and Europe's not paying.
Europe is paying. Europe is paying.
No,
even Germany.
We're financing the whole thing, man.
No, you're wrong. Because even Germany started sending weapon systems over there now. At first, they were only sending fucking like fucking helmets and shit. Like they sent like 500 helmets.
Like 10 times what Europe's paid.
Man. Yeah, and we're also like 10 times bigger than any individual fucking European countries, or even bigger than that. Significantly larger than any individual European.
They should be paying way more. We're not even in Europe, man.
Yeah, but we have a vested interest. We have a vested interest. We have a vested interest in making sure that Russia doesn't get to go through and do whatever the fuck they want.
Oh, really? We've got a vested interest. What about the American government doing whatever the fuck they want? The American government is involved in all these crazy affairs.
And I don't support those either. I don't support that either.
But it's like so. It's like, Sondsol, when will we? How is us being $80 billion? What's the place in America that doesn't have the tap water? Is that Jackson, Mississippi, or something? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Jackson, Mississippi, they don't have tap water. Have you heard this before?
Yeah.
So we're paying $80 billion. This is a meme going around. Is we're paying $80 billion and there's no tap water in Jackson, Mississippi.
And guess what? We've already the Democrats have already tried to like propose legislation to send some money that way. Guess what party decided that they didn't want to fucking fund that shit?
So at what point does a breakaway state like?
At what point will you admit that the Democrats will put forward legislation that actually meaningfully helps people, as opposed to the Republicans who aren't even willing to like fund water systems for Jackson, Mississippi?
The Democrats put forth legislation to actually help people. The Democrats
and it got shot down by the Republicans.
The Democrats are screwing the American people in live time by allowing foreign people to flood their border to bring in fentanyl.
Hold on, we're talking about Ukraine. We're talking about Ukraine right now.
Dude,
before we get to immigration, I want to talk about one thing at once.
We're talking about the ways that Democrats screw the American people. Sondsol,
we're talking about Ukraine.
Government. You can't tell the American government is not a competent operation. I just want a yes or no to that. Do you think the American government is a competent, thorough, well thought out operation?
Hell yeah, I do.
Remember when you really do? You seriously do? Remember?
Yeah, because guess what? When Trump tried to steal the election, our very competent government wasn't able to fucking. Our competent government wasn't able to let him steal it the way that he wanted to. Yeah, so I think that our systems in place are really fucking good. In the same way, if a Democrat, in the same way, if a Republican or a Democrat tried to steal the election, then guess what? They wouldn't be able to do it either.
Sondsol, where did all those voters come from in Fulton County, Cobb County? Do you know where those counties are? Where do all these 80 million voters come from that want to
not from those two individual
people, censor conservatives online?
Wait, have your guns been taken from you?
There's Sondsol. The vote is fraudulent. There's no way in hell 80 million people voted for senile Biden.
How many people voted for Trump?
Policies of the
How many people voted for Trump?
Democrats.
How many people voted for Trump?
And they use mail-in ballots.
How many people voted for Trump?
Millions. Hundreds of millions, in my opinion.
Yeah. Dodge the question. Okay, so back to Ukraine. So we have a vested interest in making sure that Russia doesn't gain all this fucking international power all over the fucking place, because guess what? Russia is diametrically opposed to the United States at every fucking turn. They want to limit our power abroad. They want to be a fucking giant global superpower again, right? And when they are doing things that directly fuck with us, right? And
they want to do good for their own country? Is this what you're saying? Oh, they want to.
Oh wait, hold on. Wait. Should we allow Russia to gain power for their people at the expense of the safety of our citizens?
Uh, I think that
This one's a yes or no question.
gain power for themselves at the expense of our citizens.
At
I
the
don't think that it
expense
necessarily has to be at the expense
doesn't
of our
necessarily
citizens.
have to be, but as I've already said, and as Putin has already like explicitly stated, he is like committed to making sure that he limits like the United States power abroad because he wants there to be regional superpowers so that he can become like the next fucking like Stalin big boy, like in charge of all the nukes, in charge of like his little region of the fucking world, right? Because he wants to be a rival to the United
Well,
States
I
in the
mean,
way the
Jesus
USSR
Christ.
was. So if we're
Why is
going,
it on
why
us
would
to? Why is it on us to
because
do
they
this with Ukraine?
because like who else is going to fucking sit there and like defend Ukraine when they're like when if Russia takes over Ukraine, Russia now has more geopolitical power than they would have before, and by virtue of that, they would necessarily then be lessening our power abroad. And I thought that you were all about like making sure that we have security for our people, making sure that like Russia, who is funding terrorists in like fucking Iran that come out of fucking Pakistan, that come out of fucking Afghanistan, the Russian government funds those places or funds those terrorist groups, right? Either directly or indirectly because they know that it fucks with the United States. So if you actually care about the United States and you actually care about American citizens like you say you do, you would actually be super in favor of giving the Ukrainians all the
Wow, if
fucking
I
firepower
actually
that they
cared
could.
about Americans,
Yeah,
I would
because
be.
it seems like you're super willing to
Give
throw
me a
away our
break, man.
because it seems like you're super willing to give away our security like from terrorism,
No,
like
because the
actual
American
terrorism.
political situation and government is fraudulent. I don't care about them. I spit on them, man. I'm not
Wait, are
for
you
them.
spit on what now? Sorry, I was playing my game.
I'm not for the American government. So as far as you're saying,
Okay, but if
oh,
the
you're
American government is projecting power abroad so that there is less likely that there's going to be some terrorist attack on the United States soil itself, would you be like, is that necessarily a bad thing to you?
if
Should
there's a
we be
terrorist,
here's a simpler question, all
if
right?
there's an
Should
attack
the
on
United States
American
government
soil, would that be bad?
should the United States government be projecting power abroad to lessen the possibility of a terrorist attack on US soil?
We are projecting power. We are doing that.
Right, I'm asking you, like,
more or less. Or to
should we?
lessen the chance of a terror attack on a
I'm asking
on
you,
U.S.
should
soil?
should the United States government project power abroad so that there is less chance of like the security of the United
Sure,
States
to
itself?
some extent, sure. Yeah, sure.
Wait,
Sure.
to some extent or yes?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Okay, yes, to some extent. Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know what
so
to say.
question two. So question two.
It's
If there's
important
no, question two. If Russia is like committed to funding the kinds of states that are funding terrorist cells that attack Americans abroad and on our own soil, should we be
Yes, they
okay?
hate us, man.
Yeah, should we be
Sure,
okay with the
yeah.
Russians getting more power abroad so that they can more easily fund these governments that are funding terrorist groups?
the whole situation with Russia has been totally mismanaged. I don't know
Whether it's
you're talking about them
mismanaged or
funding
not, whether
terrorist groups in the
it's
Middle East against
mismanaged,
America.
whether it's mismanaged or not, that's not the question.
You're talking about. Can I just say? You're talking about them funding terrorist groups in the Middle East against America or something of that nature. What groups are they funding?
They send both military and financial aid to Iran, which gives money to fucking jihadist groups all over the Middle East. They fund the Syrian
Russia's
government.
giving money to the jihadist groups. Cry me a river, man. Give me a break with that. I don't care at the slightest.
Oh, so you lied to me earlier when you said that the United States.
Man.
Wait, hold on.
The American government sells their own people out to lies and fraud every single day.
So you lied earlier when you said that the United States should be projecting power abroad so that people, so that governments aren't funding terrorist groups, so that American citizens don't get fucking jihaded. So you actually don't care about like jihadist groups killing Americans, because you're holding two contradictory points of view at the same exact time. You realize that, right?
No,
I'm saying that. I'm
saying that. Okay, I'm saying that I care about the American people somewhat. I care about the honest American people that want to do the right thing by the country at large. I don't care as so far as, oh, Russia's funding whatever. I think the American government is very hostile and has engaged in some seriously like wrong things towards Russia. I mean, every day on CNN and the like certain ethnically owned networks, it's just anti-Russia propaganda all day, nonstop, anti-Putin lies and disinformation about what's going on there.
Hold on, I haven't been giving any anti-Russian propaganda. I'm telling you exactly what Russia's stated goals are, right?
So as
Their
far as they
stated
want to
goal,
do
their
damage or
stated
harm
goal,
American
hold on.
citizens,
Their
yes, I
stated
understand.
goal is to lessen our
If
power
I was
abroad so that they can create their own power block so that they can be a military and economic rival to the United States. If you
okay,
think that
they
the
want to
United
be
States should
powerful.
stay
I
number
understand.
one, if you think that the
Do
United
you
States should
think?
stay number
Does,
one, we should
so does
necessarily
it
be
make sense
limiting
for
their
Russia to want to be
possibility.
powerful?
It makes sense. No, yeah, I can totally see it from their point of view. They want to be powerful, so they want to go and take over a fucking country that they have no business fucking going into and taking over, so that they can increase their power abroad, so that they can have this like giant fucking big military, so that they can challenge us both militarily and fucking economically. Yes, I understand totally their point of view. They want to be powerful, but that would be them getting powerful at our expense. As opposed to like, actually creating an economy that actually works for the Russian people, that isn't like a fucking oligarchy that fucks over their people at the expense of.
So what should they have? Should they have a democracy like the West where it's never going to work? What should they have then?
I'm sorry, but if you're going to tell me that like Western democracies don't work, then I would ask you like, what are like the top fucking most powerful countries in the entire world? And it's in the top
just because
10,
of democracy, that's the case, huh?
I mean, the USSR, listen, the USSR was not a democracy, and guess what? They fucking collapsed after fucking like less than 100 years. Okay, all right. China right now is looking at the first period of like degrowth that they've had in a very, very long time, because they have unilaterally decided everything about their economy and their political system. So I don't know. Maybe there are problems with democracy, and I'll admit that for sure.
But wait, what you just said there was
1,000,000%
wacky
true,
and maybe not even true.
It's 1,000,000%
about China towards the end sounded bizarre to me.
Wait, which part about China?
They're going through economic problems because of what exactly? The government power or something of that nature?
Government overreach. Yeah, they haven't liberalized their economy to the degree that they maybe should have, and because of that, they have a crashing housing market. Yes, they have a crashing housing market right now, and because of that crashing housing market, they also are going to face like really big problems with their economic growth going forward, because everything about their economy like growing has to do with them building more infrastructure all over their fucking country, to the point where they have fucking ghost cities.
Where has democracy got us? Democracy has us at a
I don't know, being the number one economic power the world has ever fucking seen in all of human history, having the best military.
That's not democracy. That's not. Hey, dude, that's not democracy though. That's not democracy. Doesn't do that, man.
Okay, well, where is like? I'm sorry. Are we ruled by a king or a dictator that was able to get us that?
To say that that's on the back of democracy. I mean, I just don't think so at all. No.
Like, I don't think that's the. Hold on. There's a couple of different things that we can point towards. Sure, but
how do you know?
But wait.
How do you know?
I think that like if you're going to say that like democracy is the problem, then I would have to ask you, hey, well, where is the like authoritarian country that has become the number one fucking economic superpower in modern history that was successful and never fucking collapsed? Because the only one that you could say was successful for some amount of time would be the USSR before they fucking collapsed. And now China is about to go through their fucking first period of fucking negative fucking economic growth because of their own economic decisions.
Yeah, I mean they're suffering economically right now, but I don't think it has necessarily anything to do with how their government is set up.
What do you think it has to do with? Because like I can point towards like the fact that even though that there are problems with democracy, and again I'm admitting that there are problems with democracy.
Great,
all right,
good. Thank you.
Do you know the saying like democracy is the worst form of government except for all the other ones?
That statement's can I say retarded on here?
Okay, so what would be a better option since we're moving off of Ukraine because you're not willing to defend the idea that America should weaken itself?
I listen to these.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can I
wait? Can I just get you on the record really quick saying like you think that we should just let Russia do whatever it wants abroad because that's what they think is in their best interest, even though
we'll just let them take over all of Europe. We'll just let them. You know what I want, Sons? I want them to just totally take over Eastern Europe, take over the Baltic states, even the Balkans.
Yeah, how far do you think that they should be able to go? How far do you think they should be able to go?
I'm saying they can go even past Germany.
Okay,
if
so
they
yeah,
wanted.
so I'm gonna. We now have you on the record. We now have you on the record saying you don't care about the United States in terms of its power abroad. You think that like regional powers should have all of their regional power. We should do the same thing to Mexico because we want to create our own like local regional power block. We should take over Canada and Mexico, just like Russia is taking over fucking Ukraine and all of the Eastern Bloc, and just like China should take over all of fucking Asia. So we can have fucking Eurasia and fucking Oceania and fucking the Confederate United States of America, like the American fucking Union of States under the leadership of the United States. Just fucking say that and say that the United States should be weakening its position abroad because you think that America bad. Just say that.
No, I don't. I just think that.
Okay, then you're lying.
Can I just say, if Trump was the president, none of this ever would have happened. I just don't think it's necessary.
No. That's not. No. Hold on. That's not at all what I asked. I want you to say, like, if you don't think that we should be helping Ukraine, then you're necessarily saying that Russia should have carte blanche to create its own power block, right? And you agree that that's what they're trying to do.
How are they creating their own power block? What does that even mean, power block? What are you talking about? You sound like you're on something when you talk like that.
It's called having like an IQ of above 70. It's called having an IQ above 70.
Take over, man. They're not going to take over.
That's not what I asked.
Estonia or Lithuania or any of those states.
Okay. I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you admit that Russia has a goal of creating its own power block by its own admission of wanting there to be regional superpowers because it wants to limit the United States' power abroad? You've already agreed to that before.
Conspiracy theory.
No, that's literally from Putin's own mouth. He wrote a fucking like essay on this.
On the power block in Europe, he wants to build up or something.
He wants Russia to return to the former glory of the USSR, and he wants to limit the United States' power abroad. He
wants Russia to be strong. Oh my God.
Okay, so yeah, like everything that I just said was true. You like agree with literally everything that I just said. Okay, we can move on to the next topic.
I'm just saying that there is no way in anybody's right mind they can justify the America being in Ukraine right now, in my opinion.
In your opinion, but your opinion is like is built off of like your hatred of the American government.
No, it's because the American government, they fail. They're failures.
You think that because America is a failure of a fucking government that we should just like cede all fucking power to fucking Russia because we don't.
No, it's not cede all power.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Don't engage in Eastern European affairs and let that be. I mean,
oh my God, you're like taking the fucking longest road around saying yes, the United States should limit its power abroad and thus necessarily weaken our power to defend ourselves from foreign adversaries. You're literally taking the fucking longest road around that possible. It's absolutely fucking insane how you refuse to say that, but you are saying that like we shouldn't be involved with any foreign affairs. You're saying that without saying it because you don't want to say it because it will make you look fucking horrible to all of your fucking buddies. But that's literally what you are saying.
What do you want me to say? I'm sorry. What do you want me to say, Sondsol? I'll just say whatever you want me to say, man. At this point, because I can't even get a word in. I mean, can I speak on democracy for 1 second?
Okay, we'll move on to democracy because you don't want to admit that like the United States should be involved in foreign affairs.
We can come back to this. No, I'm saying that it doesn't make sense for us to be there. I mean, why are we paying and Europe's not paying? Why is it on us?
Because we've already been over this. Europe is paying. Europe is decidedly paying. They have sent weapon systems just like the United States has. They haven't sent as much. Yes, they have. When you say they haven't paid, okay, so did they not pay, or are you saying that's nothing compared to us?
Oh my God!
Those are two very different statements.
Let's just say on democracy, simply on democracy, Sondsol, that democracy is subject to the influence of foreign actors like never before. The American government has failed so hard that they don't even know who has access to their own citizens anymore, in some sense. And so, like online, when you're
can you give me an example?
When you see people on Twitter or Gab,
give me an example
you have no idea.
of a foreign power having more influence. And I know exactly what country you're going to say.
Democracy is inevitably will be subverted, and it will only the subversion of democracy will only continue on. I mean, democracy is not a just the American people are subject to the risk of a new president every 4 years and the potential subversion that goes on with American democracy. I mean, everybody's an influencer on American democracy, foreign and even domestic agents. It's like democracy has serious problems, man, and I just don't understand how. I don't think it can stand governmentally in the future.
Okay,
I just
so
can't see it
I can respond to literally every part of that. Yes, there's always going to be problems with American democracy, as with literally every single democracy in all of time. Yes, there's always going to be problems with us like changing leaders every 4 years. There are advantages that like authoritarian regimes that don't have elections have over us that we don't have that, and there are advantages that we have over countries like fucking China that have authoritarian regimes, right? Like there's always going to be some like advantages and disadvantages, right? But we can see throughout, like, since Western democracies have come about, that like Western democracies are more successful both economically and militarily than authoritarian regimes. Unless you can give me an example.
They're more successful. How?
Both both militarily and economically.
But you can't blame that. You can't say that. You can't credit democracy for that.
But
dude.
you're saying that democracy is inevitably going to fail. But I can point towards at least like the biggest rival that was authoritarian in our fucking in recent. I was about to say.
You don't believe in? Don't you believe in Don't you believe Russia influenced the election? Aren't you one of these people? Even though Facebook.
Yeah, didn't you just say that there's?
When they,
didn't you just say that foreign intervention is like necessarily going to happen in our current
100%, 100%, and it's more than just foreign intervention. It's the tech companies intervening. It's everybody and their mother intervening.
That's fucking capitalism, baby.
No, man. No, that's a fraudulent. It's political system that's broken for the American people. That's not acceptable. That's fraud going on, man. Who cares about the American people? They're so sold out to everybody and their mother. The government doesn't know how to protect them in the right way.
Okay, so can you give me an example of a foreign government having so much influence over our electoral system?
Russia
and
China both influence our electoral system. They both are.
How did they do that though?
On Twitter.
Yep, they use subversive fucking tactics.
They cozy up to the leadership and.
Cozy up to leadership. I don't think that Russia and China are doing that. Okay, I think that they're pretty averse to our fucking leadership. Okay, I don't think that they're like saying, "Hey, Joe Biden, by the way, I'm going to like convince half of your fucking country that there's some sort of like deep fucking conspiracy based off of some guy named Q." China, I don't think that Joe Biden's okay with that one, right?
Russia and China use bots on social media to influence people's political opinions and ideas.
Yeah, I'm talking to a great example of that right now.
Can I just speak? Can I just
go for it, buddy.
The amount of bots on the internet nowadays are out of control. Like if you look at Hassan having like 70,000 viewers or whatever, that's about like 40,000 bots. I'm pretty sure.
He has. That's unfortunate, but the unfortunate reality of that one is that it's like real. He's actually has that many viewers.
Okay, well, I doubtful, but can I just say that bots are so prevalent now because there's money to be made, seriously, on bots on the internet, and you don't even know. You know where
that money comes from? At the expense of the American fucking taxpayer when we elect stupid fucking retards like Donald Trump because of the foreign influence.
Donald Trump did what was right by the American people, and they banned him, man. And you could say, "Oh, there's only been a few presidents on Twitter," but that was that should have never happened, man. That was an embarrassing situation for the country, and that really demonstrates.
Maybe it was, but guess
it's
what?
It's a censor state, man.
Guess what? The United States government didn't censor Donald Trump because he still puts out. No. He still goes out. He still makes fucking rallies. He still goes out and he has his own fucking platform, right? Guess who censored him? It was the big fucking tech companies that fucking banned him off of their platforms. Okay,
so saying that his life, man. Yeah, with the help of the American government, with the American government backing that, yeah, of course, with the Democratic Party and the people who proprietate this insane operation such as America today. America makes no sense, man. It's an insane operation. The government doesn't know what they're doing. The leaders are senile. The media is controlled. The corporations have the American people. The foreign actors have the American people. There's no one looking out for honest people. You're living in a sham society. The economy's rigged.
So there's been no argument whatsoever. There's been no argument whatsoever thus far about like.
That's the whole argument. I just laid it all out.
Is that where you have a sham? But you no. Okay, so that's your premise, right? This is
spending
like,
$80 billion.
No. Sorry. Let me be ultra clear. That's your conclusion, but you have no evidence to like fucking come to that conclusion.
Can't you not see that they don't know what they're doing? You think that they run a good operation when everybody's like fat and poor and like
them being fat and poor is their own fucking choices. Do you think the American government is forcing? Do you think the American government is forcing people to be fat?
I think that they don't look out for the American people in the right way.
Okay, so that's different than saying that they're forcing them to be fat, right?
Nobody's forcing them to be fat, man. Yeah, I agree with that. Government's not, stuffing cake down their mouth, and we haven't got to that level of dystopian, but yeah, you don't kind of see the leaders senile, the government's corrupt, they're not for the American people. Like, it's a dangerous country ever so more. It's ever so more likening to the third world. Like, you can't see it there. You can't see like a super society could mitigate suffering like crazy, but the American state.
Oh wow, holy shit, what a vacuous fucking statement. A super society could be way better than the United States government.
No, a super society could mitigate suffering like crazy, yet the American government.
Yeah, a perfect government could like mitigate all fucking harm. Like, yeah, if it was a perfect government, but there's no such thing as a perfect government. So you're gonna have to fucking deal with the consequences of there being some good things and some bad things in every fucking system.
Well, you look at the leader of Iceland got 92% of the vote in Iceland.
Okay.
What do you have to say about that, Sondsol?
I don't know enough about Iceland's fucking government, but there's like 12 people that live in Iceland, and so like if they have like
more than 12.
Okay, you know what I'm fucking saying, right?
Yeah, sure. But the leader got 92%. Here it's like 50-50 in the votes.
Yeah, we're incredibly divided right now.
Yeah, no, man. It's just shameful. The country doesn't make sense. It's not logical to be this divided. Like, it should be like 92% in the US. With our elections, in my opinion. It should be some young.
It would be really nice if everybody in the United States agreed. But we don't agree. That's why we don't have like maybe everyone in Iceland is way more like agreeable with each other. But like in the United States, we all fucking like hyper disagree. Look at the conversation that we're having right now.
Yeah, well, you're basically a shill for the American government. You're basically selling.
No, here's the problem with like conversations with people like you is that like I have plenty of disagreements with the American government. Okay, I really do. I have plenty of disagreements about like the way that we like do things and all of that shit. But unfortunately, when we have like schizoids that are going through and like talking like you do, I necessarily have to take the most like pro-government stance that I possibly could. Schizoid, because you're talking like in fucking DMs, we were talking about like the fucking Jews ruling the world. Yeah, and I don't agree with that sort of fucking shit going on.
Look at Brian
This
Roberts. Look at Jeff Zucker.
Okay, wait, hold on, really quick. Before we like get me banned by talking too much about the JQ, all I'm saying is like when we look at your fucking worldview and the way that you like conspiratorially say that like there's like small groups of people that are controlling everything, and there's all these fucking like the American government is just like a sham government where like nobody agrees with each other.
You seriously have trust in them?
What I can say is that I can trust more easily the fact that we only get like, 51, 52, 53% of the population electing our leaders more easily than I can accept that like, there's like some shadow government that's like here just to hurt people's lives and make their lives hell.
Yeah, well, maybe they think that they're doing the right thing. I guess that's possible. The people at CNN and MSNBC.
Or I think that the more reasonable take here would be that not even necessarily that they think that they're doing the right thing, but we have so much gridlock that nobody can actually do something that they think is the correct thing because there's too much gridlock, and everything that we do is a half measure because nobody agrees on what the actual measure should be.
Well, we're hoping that the Democratic Party falls in some sense. We're hoping that the U.S. enters a one-party state, and what's right for the American people is actually done, and they're actually given the kind of society that they deserve. This government is not capable of producing that kind of society. They have failed and blundered in so many different regards. It is almost bizarre.
Well, maybe we should find some way for people to like come together. Maybe we should find some way for people to come together and like have some agreement on some like actual like fact of the matter issues, right? Like actual facts of the world. But unfortunately, like people like you live in a completely different reality than people like me, and so we're never going to agree. Yeah, we both live in different realities, right? I'm not saying that you I didn't even like listen. You got super triggered. Well, hold on, really quick. I didn't even say. Listen to how like triggered you are when I say that we live in different realities, right? You're necessarily thinking that I'm saying that you're living in the wrong one, right? It could be that I'm just like completely
you're living
blinded.
in the reality where the government is all like rainbows and love and hearts.
I've already said I don't believe that, right?
And this government spits on and defrauds their own citizens, man.
How do they defraud their own citizens? How about that? Let's start with that.
They sell them on lies. They're not honest with really what's going on societally and governmentally, and they're not. They
sure, give me an example.
Failure.
Give me an example. Give me an example.
What's going on in Ukraine is a failure right now.
No. I said where have they lied to people? In order to
every day, CNN, MSNBC.
No, that's not the government. That's not the government. Tell me where the government has lied to its citizens.
They're an apparatus. Okay, when this administration gets up and that woman gets up and every day in the White House press conference they lie, man. Are you serious? You want me to go find a specific lie?
Yes, I want you to find a specific lie.
The press secretaries saying that illegal aliens aren't coming in, for instance.
No one's saying that illegal immigrants aren't coming in.
They literally were just saying that when they're talking about.
Sure, show me where they're saying that there's no illegal immigrants coming in.
Lies every single day.
Show me where they're saying that because I know that they have differing opinions than you about like the burden that they're putting on our country. Hold on, wait. You made a claim. The claim that you made was that they said that there were no illegal immigrants coming in. I think that that's fucking bullshit. And you think that that's fucking bullshit. You know that that's a fucking lie.
They said there was a very small amount compared to what's really coming in, man. They lie every day.
Sure, so show me that fucking, show me. Yeah. Show me where they said that.
I don't have White House press briefings ready to go with exact.
It should be pretty easy to fucking find.
Said.
Google.
Yeah. What's her name? This press secretary woman?
I don't fucking know her name. It's not Jen Psaki
of the administration. You haven't heard of this woman?
I know, like, she's a black lady. I don't know her fucking name.
Yeah, she's African American. Yeah, and she lies every day defending the American government. But CNN and MSNBC and all those other networks, the New York Times, they're just agents of the American government. They're backing and supporting everything.
Sure.
That they support.
Tell me lies that the government is telling them. Tell me lies that the government is telling them that are defrauding the American people.
Illegal immigration, the economy's fair, inflation.
No, okay, so tell me where they said that the economy was fair.
Sondsol, Sondsol, they're not going out and telling people, oh, the economy's rigged, it's dishonest, the bankers make everything. Like they just get away with everything.
You don't think that like Fox News is saying shit like that?
Well, they're talking about Congress and them insider trading or whatever, and I guess some people do talk about the economy being rigged, but they don't admit their failures, man. They don't admit this is a mistake.
Okay, so we've moved back from. Wait, hold on. I just want to be like ultra clear here.
You're asking
no. I want to like be ultra clear about this. We've moved away from they've lied and defrauded the American people to they've kind of like only focused on like maybe some of them do actually talk about like some of the things.
And defrauded them.
Okay, so tell me. So I asked you for some of those things, and when I said that there are people that talk about the fact that like bankers make a lot of money, like that Congress makes a lot of money, that maybe they're not working in people's best interest. Even I just said that just a couple of seconds ago that they're not able to get any legislation passed that's working in Americans' best interest.
Honest about their economic system. They're not honest about their criminal justice system. They don't know how.
Okay, so what about the criminal justice system? Are they not honest about?
There are so many different aspects that are just wrong and nonsensical in that. Like, you're paying all this money for justice, man. It doesn't make sense.
So give me one example.
It's stupid. The whole society is rigged, man.
Give me one example.
When you go, you have to pay for classes, or you've got to pay for lawyers, or you've got to, like, the whole.
You don't have to. Hold on, you're wrong. You don't have to pay for a lawyer. The government will literally pay for one for you.
Unless you want to represent yourself?
No, you never have to represent yourself. The government will pay for a lawyer for you.
Okay, and then you're going to get what? Some public servant, man? You have to pay if you want to get out quicker. Really?
That's different than saying that you can't represent yourself.
Swipe your credit card and justice served, man. The system's not real.
Okay, so why is it that Jeffrey Epstein got fucking like caught, even though he's a billionaire? He had all the lawyers in the world. Why is it that Ghislaine Maxwell didn't get off fucking scot-free?
They finally got caught. Good.
Okay, so you're So your statement that like, oh well, like you swipe your credit card and you're off scot free is like completely not fucking true. We can look at fucking people all over, like fucking Bill Cosby. He got fucking convicted. We can look at fucking
look at O.J. Simpson. What about him?
Well, we could also look at people that did get off scot-free because they had a really good lawyer, but that doesn't mean that like that's necessarily always going to be the fucking case, right? If there's if there's like again, we have the Constitution says beyond a shadow of a doubt, if there's a shadow of a doubt, even if that's what the fucking jury of his peers said. Now we might disagree with that. We might say that was really fucking stupid, but we could also point towards all the times that rich people definitely got fucking caught, definitely got fucking put in jail.
When you have to pay like $20,000 to get bonded out, what about bond?
Wait, isn't like the biggest fucking Republican talking? Wait, hold on, really quick. I actually have a question for you. Isn't like the biggest fucking Republican talking point right now is that the Democrats are trying to get rid of like the bond system because they're trying to let criminals out in the fucking streets?
No, the point is, Sondsol, you're talking about the way.
So whose side are you on that one? Do you think that the Democrats are good for trying to get rid of like or like try to reform the bond and like bail system?
I don't think everything should just be about money, but I don't think that the government knows how to stop people.
I asked you a question. Do you think that the Democrats are good on that one? So the Democrats in a lot of different cities and a lot of different states have like put forward legislation to try and reform the bail and bond system, and Republicans are fighting tooth and nail, saying that they're trying to get criminals out on the street. Now you just said that there is a like that if we just pay, then we can get off scot-free, which number one isn't how bond or bail works, but like go off, King. But like, if you're like going to take the position that the Democrats are saying that we should reform the bail and bond system, then like fucking base King, let's fucking vote for Joe Biden for a second term. Yeehaw, 2024, Giga Chad Biden.
No, we're not voting for Joe Biden, man. Joe Biden's a sellout to the New World Order, and he sold out the American people totally. He's as evil as can be.
Except for the bail and bond stuff, right?
I mean, I don't know if but you have to have high bail and bond when you're dealing with like criminals at this level. But ideally, you wouldn't want any criminals. I mean, Sondsol, you could create a society with little to no crime. You're aware that that's possible, right? Except the American government.
Yeah, if you want to do that. Well, if you want to fucking arrest everyone for fucking jaywalking and impose like the most fucking draconian fucking measures, the most draconian measures possible to get rid of crime. Yeah, you could. Like China probably has
people getting shot in America, man. Who's responsible for people getting shot? The American
probably the Republican government, the Republican congressmen that like want to like make sure that everybody has the most access to guns that they could possibly ever have. Like with no fucking restrictions.
To guns when you were dealing with a fraudulent
media. I thought that you were mad. I thought that you were mad. I thought you were mad. Hold on. Just a second ago, you were mad that people were getting shot.
You're such a dishonest leftist.
I'm not. Everything that I'm saying is my
tax, dude.
Hold on. Do you want people to get shot or not? Do you want people to get shot or not?
Do you? No, I do not want people to get shot. That's what's going
on. And I would agree with you that like some of the legislation that Democrats try and put out there for getting rid of guns is really fucking cringe. Guns
don't
I can
do
also
the shooting,
say,
man. Guns don't. Guns.
So what is the actual policy that we should put out there? We should what should we try and do?
Guns don't do the killing, man. Guns don't do the.
I understand that
people can kill with anything.
Yes, but like their ability to kill more people is enhanced with a gun. A gun is a force multiplier.
The point is that you need the gun because the government's demented, unfortunately.
Okay, whether you believe that, I'm not anti-gun. I'm not anti-gun. Okay. So like, no, I'm not anti-gun. But if you actually want to like fix some of like the issues with guns in America, what you should do is try and like fix the gun culture in America, right? Because people have like this gun culture where they need to have like 400 fucking guns in their house, like a fucking Sig Sauer and also a fucking like a fucking AR-15 with like 40 fucking attachments, and they also need a fucking 308 for their fucking deer hunting.
Yes,
and they also need do you need all these fucking guns? Do you need all of these guns? Do you need all of these guns? Okay, then you're necessarily by virtue of there being more guns in a society, you're necessarily going to create a society in which there are more people getting shot. That's just
that's absolutely not true.
That's literally true.
Oh, absolutely not, man. You could imagine a society that has guns that a lot of people get shot, and you could also imagine a society that has guns where very few people get shot. But there are a lot of different variables that come into play. Whether
Can you name a country? Can you name a country that doesn't have like pretty significant like restrictions on guns and a good
I couldn't name one.
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
So like the more like generally speaking, a country that has more guns is going to have more gun deaths. Yes.
No. I don't think so.
Okay, so but you can't think of a single country that like
A
is
country that has more guns is going to have more gun deaths. Like, guns equal gun deaths. Why don't you do understand that that's
no.
not equal, right?
Well, I mean, like that logically follows, yeah. Unless you can give me an example of how it doesn't. And also, I can also say that we can trade some of the security and some of the freedom, right? We can maintain some of our amount of freedom while also like recognizing, like, hey, we're going to have guns in this country. We're also going to have to like by virtue of hold on, wait,
dystopian populace. Like, if the society wasn't dystopian, man, if you didn't have crazy people that want to
when
go
we
out and
weren't
kill
a dystopian,
people, like,
when we weren't a dystopia, were people still getting shot in America?
Sure, Sondsol, sure. But the point is that
so you're never going to get rid of all the gun deaths.
The point is, if you have guns, you don't want it to be a dystopian society.
I think with or without guns, I don't want it to be a dystopian society. Yeah.
Okay, sure. But the point is that, Sondsol, we need the guns. The American government they're lying. You start talking about the ways that they defraud the people. What about the media? What about not only Ukraine, but what about the fact that if the government makes a mistake, there's nothing wrong with that. But if the citizen makes a mistake, it's all over for them. But the government makes mistakes every day, all the time. If the citizens make a mistake, they lock you up, throw you in jail. The government's senile, man. Do you know?
Wait, can you explain to me what you mean by that?
What exactly?
If the government fucks up all the time but gets away with it, but an American citizen messes up one time and they get locked away for life. Can you give me an example?
Well, yeah, they get in huge trouble. You've got to deal with our dystopian justice system where you have to pay tremendous amounts of money, even if you're not like guilty at all in the slightest. It's just so dystopian. It's like the government doesn't really understand how crime works, even for that matter. They are just like we talked about before. They just throw people in jail for the sake of imprisoning them.
Okay, can you give me an example?
What was the original question? I'm sorry.
Okay, you're saying that the government gets away with fucking up all the time, but American citizens get fucked all the time.
Yeah. So, they can make as many mistakes. They make mistakes every day.
Okay, so give me an example of a government like agency or employee doing something that is like super fucked up outside of ones that like everybody already like roundly condemns, right? So like I can think of one off the top of my head that they got away with that they probably shouldn't have. Like, oh shit, where the ATF fucked up here in Texas somewhere, Waco, right? So everybody recognizes that was a bad one. But what is something that the American government does on a regular basis that is fucked up that they someone should go to jail for that they don't go to jail for?
The media lying, for instance, that would be a good one.
So lying should necessarily entail jail time.
Well, what CNN does should be jail time, but
okay.
Lying,
well, you literally lied to me earlier in this conversation. So should I like call up like 911?
What did I lie about?
You lied about like whether or not the United States should limit its fucking power abroad so that Russia can gain more power abroad, because they want to limit our power.
So you're like, oh, they want to limit our power, man.
That's literally by their own admission. Yes, they do.
I don't care what Russia wants to do. I'm interested in what America does for its own citizens.
Yeah, and when we want to increase our power abroad in order to fucking make sure that...
To what extent, though, man? Are you serious? Do you really want opposition to this? Okay, what extent do we go? How far are you willing to go? You didn't answer that question from before. If you want to circle back around to this topic of Russia, I am making every single argument to you about the fraudulent nature and the borderline crimes committed against honest citizens. You don't give a fuck about honest citizens.
I love honest citizens. I love all people. I love all people.
You hate the American people. You sold them out, man. Sondsol, you want illegals to live amongst honest citizens.
I've been living amongst illegals my entire fucking life. Never been a problem for me.
You're trying to disarm people when the government is doing damage to our society.
How am I disarming them? I already said that I'm pro-gun.
But you are supporting... Did you vote for Joe Biden?
I did support Joe Biden. Absolutely.
You're an animal, man. You're an animal. You deserve this kind of society. This is a dystopian society.
Okay, you can't give me one example. You can't give me one example. You can't give me one example of the government doing something that is wholly condemnable that someone should go to fucking jail for.
Like
right?
the media, the illegal aliens.
That's the media is not the
crime,
government. The
justice
media,
system,
the media
the
is
economic
not.
system.
You're not
the
giving
Congress,
me any
the
situation. You're telling me.
Political
You're telling me. You're telling me like the most vague. The political structure should have someone go to jail. Wow! Congratulations! You just blew me the fuck out in this conversation. Tell me one.
Yes.
Tell me one fucking thing that the government has done in recent memory, right? That someone should have gone to jail for and nobody got punished.
Go to jail? Like, you want me to imprison? You want me to say who I would put in prison?
If they did something bad enough to where like the government is doing all this really bad shit and they are getting away with it, right? But American citizens fuck up one time and they go to jail for life. Can you give me one example of like a government agency? Well, that's what you said. That's the words that you used.
They have to pay. Yeah, I mean the government wastes taxpayer money all the time.
That's not a crime, is it? Because they use taxpayer money according to what taxpayers generally want. That's why we elect representatives, right?
Yeah, but they don't know how to use it. Sondsol is really the point.
Okay, so that should be a crime. So who should go to jail?
I'm saying
after we elect someone, okay? After we elect someone, right? And they use tax money in a way that you don't personally think is a good use of that tax money, even though that person keeps on getting elected time and time again. You think that should be a crime? Tell me who should go to jail. And how is that a fuck up on the same scale as someone like fucking up one time and murdering someone and going to jail for 30 years?
Okay, what's the exact question? I'm sorry.
I'm asking you, what examples do you have of the government getting away with shit that they should have gone to jail for, whereas a regular citizen doing the exact same thing didn't get away with it?
They're responsible for this whole society and
so
system. So
tell me give me one example. Literally one. Literally one.
I'd put in prison? I just don't understand the question.
The question is, you're saying that the government fucks up all the fucking time and does things that like regular people would get fucked for. So tell me one.
Illegal aliens coming in the country. I'm saying that they do wrong, and I'm saying if a citizen does wrong, they get in huge trouble. If the government does wrong, it fails, like allows 50 million or more illegal aliens to come in, then it's all good. Do you not understand what I'm saying?
If a citizen fails,
I'm
trying to say it back to you in a way that I'm understanding it. You're saying that if a regular citizen fails in some like civic duty, then they go to jail. But if the government fails in some civic duty, then they don't go to jail?
I'm saying if the government does wrong and allows 50 million illegal aliens in the country, the lying criminal media, the rigged economy, if they do wrong and allow those things, then who's responsible? Nobody gets in trouble. Does the
United States government just like unilaterally... Wait, hold on. Question. Does the United States government ever deport people?
Yes, they do. Sure.
Okay.
When they sell out the American people governmentally, nobody gets in trouble. But when you get caught with a little bit of marijuana or whatever, you have to deal with fines and lawyers and the forever long process.
This is the cool thing about democracy. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think that what we should do is have some sort of like way for us to have some representation in our country so that we can like have someone that like goes forward and like advocates for policies that we personally agree with. So like if we don't like weed being illegal, then we should elect people that I think that it should be legal for us to elect someone that will make weed legal so that people don't go to jail. Wait, hold on. Don't we have like a system in place called democracy so that we can actually fucking do that? But the unfortunate reality of the world that we live in is that there are a bunch of fucking old fucking boomers that think that weed will literally turn you into a psychotic fucking like rape murder animal. And so that we have weed that's still illegal and so people will go to jail for it. Wow. Fucking big brain. Weren't you just arguing against democracy, motherfucker? If we want to legalize weed so that people don't go to jail, guess what? Go out, advocate for people to vote for a person that is pro fucking weed, and then guess what? People won't do that anymore.
That was just an example. It could be punching your wife. If you punch your wife one time, you've got to go and deal with the whole American legal system, and you've got to deal with lawyers and bond, and you've got to be put in a cell, and you're going to be driven out of the jail or whatever, and you've got to go through this whole process. But if the American government allows 50 million illegal aliens in, who gets held responsible? No, it's all good, I guess. Nobody deserves to go to jail for that, right?
If you,
Can you answer?
Yeah, I can't answer because like these are so fucking totally different. So the government, unless you think that we should just have like like our entire fucking military lined up along the fucking border so that we don't have any illegal immigration whatsoever, right? Then like the government can't be responsible in the same way as someone who punched their fucking wife. Unless you want to say that someone who punches their wife shouldn't be held accountable, in which case that's like your position, I guess, man. But like that's really fucked up.
Sondsol, you don't acknowledge the points I'm making here. Do you not see the truth
No,
of that?
no, because the points that you're making are fucking retarded. It's like actually like mind-bendingly fucking stupid for you to compare the idea that like people crossing our border illegally and either like just like coming over illegally or trying to claim asylum and the government either facilitating that or deporting people, right, is going to be the same thing as a man punching his fucking wife.
I don't understand how you have trust in this government, man. Even as a teacher or whatever, I guess like you're part of a union, you want the resources in the schools or whatever. I guess you're just a Democrat.
One second. I have a
nature,
TTS going. I couldn't hear what you just said. Sorry. Say it again.
Okay, I was talking about you being a teacher. I guess you're just a Democrat by nature. I mean, I don't understand.
No, I used to have a lot of like Republican leaning positions, and a lot of lefties would say that I'm like a conservative now. I have some.
But you just need to know, man. You need to know what I'm telling you here about the American government. You need to understand that they don't have all the answers, and in many cases, they don't even know what they're. Huh?
I know they don't, but you keep on having this like weird fucking idea that I wholly support the government. But the things that you're saying about the government are like wholly fucking crazy. I like some of the things that the government does. And in general, I think that the government tries to do what is best in the like citizens' interest. But what I can do is I can recognize what the government is doing that is good, and I can recognize what the government is doing is like that is bad. And I can say like, you know, there are things that we can do to fix this. Whereas you're saying that like they're wholly incompetent. We need to tear the whole fucking system down because it's all run by fucking Jews and it's run by foreign fucking agents and all this fucking different shit.
Listen,
right?
I can acknowledge the good. I can acknowledge the good and bad, but the issue for me is that it's like the whole way the U.S. is ran is like a maniac show, man. It's like yes. Do you feel safe in this society?
Generally, yeah, and I live in a pretty big city.
The government's censoring. The leaders are senile. The public is like everybody's poor, fat.
What was the first one you said?
The leader's senile. Like, dude,
I don't even know. I might even agree with you that Joe Biden might be like a little bit senile, but I'm not going to say that like because Joe Biden is a little bit senile is like necessarily means that our whole society is fucked.
It's pathetic, man. Nobody sees
whether or not it's pathetic
leader.
Doesn't mean that we have a failed fucking society. Our society, like you have some moral.
So what do you need to see to say it's failed?
I would probably have to see like trending
like
towards
homeless people everywhere, or record numbers of people in prison, or fat corrupt pieces of shit
guess what? There are things that guess what? The Democrats actually put forward policies that will like get rid of some of those issues that you're having with like the justice system and having issues with some of those things regarding.
It's not just about the justice system being broken, man. You understand, Republicans. The justice system is only the way that it is because you kind of. In a country where the government's this incompetent, nothing can ever get done. You can't see this kind of stuff. You can't realize this kind of stuff. Do you think, if I was to ask you a question like, do you think a better society is possible to create?
Yes, necessarily. There's no such thing as a perfect society. So there's always possibility.
No. I'm not saying perfect. I'm just saying better.
You're right. What I'm saying is there's no way for us to have a perfect society. So necessarily,
okay, dude,
we can always strive.
Answer the question, please, man.
If you let me finish the sentence, you'll agree with literally everything. If you let me finish the sentence, you'll agree with literally everything I say. Because there's no such thing as a perfect society, all we can ever do is strive for a better society.
Yeah, okay, yes, I agree. Sure, yes, okay. Sure,
Jesus
you're right
fucking Christ.
But so you agree that it's possible to create a better society than what we have now, right?
Yes.
Okay, sure, okay. Then I guess we agree. So we just don't. You just can't see that the. So if it's possible to create a better society, why do you back these people, man?
Okay, because. In the same way that when I was a socialist, I still fucking hated the tankies. I don't think that because we have some problems right now with our current system that we need to necessarily, or even the anarchists, because the anarchists are also fucking retarded. Like just because we have problems with our society now doesn't mean that we need to wholesale get rid of tear down our entire society and like fucking build it from fucking scratch, right? Like I think that's like one of the most stupid fucking positions ever.
Well, yeah, I was talking about a one-party state earlier, but I'm not saying tear it down and build it from scratch.
Yeah, a one-party state is also fucking shit.
I'm saying that the Democrats are just so evil, man. They are
Wow.
so evil. They are so in the wrong for the American people.
I cannot
what do
believe
you have
what
to
a
say about the
fucking
ruble?
crazy, what a crazy fucking pivot.
Okay, what was the point that I'm
This
pivoting
is
from?
okay. We were talking about our governmental system. I think that, like, in general, I think that we can look at our governmental system and we can see that there are things that need to be fixed. But like the things that we need to fix are going to be like probably a lot easier to fix than shit like, you know, the things that you're talking about. Like we have a failed fucking system. I don't think we have a failed system. I think we have a pretty
Sondsol.
good. I think we have a pretty
So-
good system that needs some tweaking, like it always has, and it always will. There will always
Yeah, the
be
people
things.
here are living really nice lives with like less, not a lot of suffering here, right? With the healthcare issues.
There's always going
and,
to be suffering. Wow, holy shit! If you want to reform healthcare, why don't you vote for the Democrats? Unironic question.
I want state healthcare, but not this state. Not this state.
So you want to tear down our state? Yeah, thank you.
I'm saying I do want to support states doing healthcare, but not this government. Yeah, I don't know, Sondsol. I don't know.
I guess like we're coming to a close to a closing. I guess.
Yeah, I don't.
Any
You're
final
just so
news?
wrong about this all.
Okay, can I
don't know how
tell
to
you something?
convince you.
Can I talk to you from the bottom of my heart? This is the difference
Sure.
between people like me and people like you. I can conceive of ways to fix our government without like creating an authoritarian fucking shithole country, right? And you
Oh,
can't.
it's definitely gonna be shit compared to this country. Yeah, it's this country's going real brilliantly, Sondsol.
Again, you don't listen to any of the words that I say, so I can't like.
Because you're
say a
just
million
bloating
times.
it all. You're just a shithole authoritarian country. This
Yeah, I think
country's shit, man.
authoritarianism is fucking cringe, but you think it's really fucking based, and that's going to be the
The
difference. between me and
government
you.
allows way too much suffering and nonsense. And
There's
just
always going to be
insanity.
suffering. All we can do
No,
is mitigate
man.
suffering. All we can do is mitigate.
Yeah, you can.
You're
mitigate
as
it. You
delusional.
can mitigate it.
Yes,
don't
you
know
can
how to
mitigate it.
man.
You can mitigate it, and I can think of things to mitigate because I can think about specific things rather than like these grand narratives of like giant fucking conspiracies to like for the Jews to control the fucking world, right? But like again, like that's just like the difference between me and you. I can fix the world, right? I can conceive of like things that we can do to like fix our lot in life without like having to go into all these like, you know, like grand narratives of like you know, we need to create a one-party state because the Jews are ruling everything, and we can't like possibly fight against
Yeah,
that.
because
Right?
they're
They're
mentally ill.
Well, you're mentally ill because like I can conceive of those
Okay.
things, but you have to come up with all these grand narratives. You have to come up with all these like fucking crazy fucking like stories to tell yourself so that you can like
They're
justify.
stories. They're reality. It's
Yeah,
real.
it's reality
all real.
to you. It's reality to you, but you can't back
Oh,
up
yeah.
literally any of the fucking things that we've said in this conversation.
I couldn't
literally,
back 'em up?
Literally every single time I asked you for an example for something, you like the only example that you actually were able to bring up of from something that I asked you was like the government allowing illegal immigration. Which they don't. They don't allow it. It just happens because you're never going to be able to.
Dude, are you
hold
brain
on,
damaged? Are you serious saying
Unless
that?
you're willing to fucking put the entire military force on our fucking
They
southern
do
border,
allow it, you
okay?
stupid fat fuck.
Unless you're
you
willing to
brain
do that,
damaged dude.
there's always going to be people that cross the border. You said that that is equal
You are
to a
brain-
man punching a woman in the face and getting fucked for that legally. That was your go-to example, okay? And that was the best example that you could bring up. All right?
It's not
and that's the
something that
difference
just
between me and you.
happens. It's
I can
either
look at things
allowed
that-
or
I
not
can-
allowed, you dumb fuck. It's not something that just happens. It's either the government either says it can happen or it can't happen. You stupid motherfucker. Are you stupid, dude? Do you acknowledge that? I'm sorry. You just can't. You're so dishonest. It's like, the government.
Earlier
can't
you
decide.
said, wait, hold on, really quick. Earlier you said all we can do is mitigate suffering. You agreed with me on that, but you don't think that. So, like, if the government just said, like, there is no more suffering allowed, that it would necessarily happen, like that would happen. Do you think that, like, there's a way for the government to make sure that there's no fat people at all, without becoming like
No,
a fucking?
Not necessarily.
Yeah,
I think that
exactly.
they could-
So you don't believe any of the fucking statements that you say.
No, I believe in using incentives to deter these things, Sondsol. But you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be like competent. You've got to be thorough. These are things the American government is not, man. You understand that or no?
I think the government's very thorough, but
God, Sondsol, it's brain damage, man.
yeah,
The
brain damage.
amount of blunders and errors and ineptitudes and the way that nobody looks out for the people and the way that they're so sold out. Nobody has
But
any.
you haven't been able to tell me how they're sold out.
Imagine you're like a poor old grandma in this society, man. Do you?
I've
think
been able to
that's-
answer
that's-
every single one of your questions that you've asked me, but like I'm the brain damaged one.
Is
like,
that a pleasant experience to be a poor old grandma, old lady in this society?
I mean, depends. I mean, like what kind of question is that? Yeah, it fucking depends.
Yeah. Okay, Sondsol. This is when
Do you
you're a
think that there
poor
are
old
old
lady and they're
grandmas?
playing the knockout games on you. They're saying,
Do you
New
think
York
that
City, you're up.
wait, hold on. Do you think that there are poor old ladies in this country that have like generally like okay existences?
I'm saying that we are not doing what we should for our elderly in this country,
Damn,
man. But we
fucking
don't do
base,
what
so
we should
fucking
for any of our
true.
people.
But guess what? None of the things that you've brought up in this conversation are ever going to help fucking old people. Sorry.
Okay, sure, man,
right.
sure. Yeah.
Anyways.
The overtaking of the American government, I think, would help them, but...
All right.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
So tear it all down.
Talk?
I don't have anything else to say. Like, what else
I
am I
mean,
supposed
you
to say?
do... Tell me, okay, you want to just answer questions for me. Tell me what breakaway governments are legitimate to defend. I guess you probably believe Taiwan's defendable?
Taiwan isn't a breakaway state.
They broke away from China, bud.
No, you don't even know the history of fucking Taiwan. It was literally like, it's the fucking government it's the previous government from mainland China that retreated there. They didn't have to break away.
Oh my god. Can you just answer?
They lost
Taiwan...
No, they're not a breakaway state.
Oh, okay. You don't consider them breakaway? They didn't break away from China?
Now I would consider them a breakaway state, and I would concede everything to you if they were part of like mainland China as like part of the CCP, and they broke away from that, but they never did.
How far? Answer me this: how far are you willing to go with this Russian endeavor? You didn't answer me about the nukes, so how much are we willing to spend? 200 billion, 1 trillion? Are we willing to put people on the ground? Are we willing to engage in nuclear warfare?
Well, it depends. I guess it depends on like what the situation there like ends up being. Like if
you
Russia,
can't answer how far are you willing to go?
I was about to give you the answer that you wanted. Like if Russia starts sending nukes, then yeah, like every other nuclear power would have like the ability and possibly the fucking like necessary fucking like obligation to fucking start like sending nukes towards Russia, because obviously this is some sort of like fucking crazy state that needs to be put down because they're willing to use nukes for something as stupid as fucking like Ukraine.
This guy said I pivoted. What did I pivot from? But they're willing to use nukes for something as stupid as Ukraine. You think that's stupid when the American government wants to put missiles on Russia's border? That's stupid.
Wait, hold on. Wait,
really quick. Hold on, really quick.
This is something I love, and I heard you say this in the conversation that you sent me to listen to. You do realize that there are already like NATO nations that are bordering Russia right now, right?
Sure, but it's obviously.
So why is Ukraine? No, why is Ukraine different?
Ukraine is much more. It's much bigger. It's much more inward. It's much harder to defend against. It's much more.
Wait, what do you mean? It's much more inward, much more nuclear?
No, it's much more like towards like inwards of Russia, and like, are those other states in NATO even?
Yes, they're NATO states that are like.
I guess you're talking about like Estonia. Is Estonia?
Estonia and Latvia.
So NATO already.
Sorry. Someone clarified. When you said inward, you meant like INWARD.
Well, there's no border bigger than the Ukrainian border with Russia, man.
Why does that matter? If you're worried about them putting missiles in Ukraine, why does it matter if they're like
it's inward, border like in towards Russia?
Yeah. But like we already have countries that are bordering Russia that have the capability of us putting nuclear weapons there. What's the difference?
I'm saying that
since 2004,
adding Ukraine is certainly not a thing to happen.
Oh, it's Belarus
in NATO?
No. Belarus is like aligned with Russia.
Okay, so there's like 1 or 2 countries like this you're talking about?
How many countries do you need to have nuclear missiles in before it becomes a problem?
Man. So okay.
Why didn't they invade fucking Estonia and Latvia when they tried to join NATO? If that was the fucking concern, the reason why is because that isn't the concern now. They are trying to expand their fucking power so that they can have regional fucking power. That's the beginning and end of it. They don't care about NATO.
This only happened when they said that they wanted to join NATO.
No, because because they've invaded other countries. They've invaded other countries and annexed land from them.
Okay, so what? I just don't understand what
The
the point
reason
is.
why they want to create their own regional power block, and when NATO or when Ukraine was looking more towards the West than towards Russia when it comes to economics, right? And they were looking to like be more cozy with the fucking EU than with Russia's like little like incredibly shitty economic block that they made between Kazakhstan, Belarus, and they tried to make with Ukraine and Russia, right? Ukraine looked the other way because it was a better deal, and then Russia got
But
ass
they
mad
never
about
would have
that.
invaded. You do you
They
agree that
never
they
would have
never would
invaded except for Ukraine didn't bend to the economic wishes of Russia.
have? Yeah, if that's how you want to phrase it, Sondsol. Sure, yeah. They just didn't bend to the economic wishes, yeah.
But
So
I mean, like, it's literally what happened.
they must join NATO now. They must be in the they must do trade with the West now. It has to happen now, right?
Well, they already wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that maybe they should wait some time before they join NATO. But I guess if this whole thing's gonna happen now, Sonzel, and you're gonna
Well,
back it, then
here's the real black pill for your position. Okay, here's the real like
okay.
bad thing for you is that the majority of Ukrainians didn't want to join NATO because they didn't want to provoke Russia. But now, because Russia has actually invaded and has actually killed tens of thousands of Ukrainians and has actually like seized some of their territory and is
And they've
currently
killed
annexing them.
Russians too, by the way.
Yeah, the ones that fucking invaded.
Okay, but sure, Sonzel, but
Yeah,
you
they
could call
invaded with
you could
fucking weapons and tanks and guns. Yeah, no fucking shit, they killed the Russians. Okay, so like, yeah, after that, now Ukraine is like almost unanimously in favor of joining NATO. Russia has actually fucked itself.
yeah, well, they invaded because they kind of were their hand was forced to invade, if you want
Yeah,
to be
how?
honest. But because Ukraine has to be in NATO, man. Are you
No,
like
because they weren't even on like they had like the possibility of joining NATO in the future, right? But the overwhelming majority of Ukrainians didn't want to join NATO. They wouldn't have voted to join NATO because guess why? They didn't want to provoke Russia into invading them. But Russia like said, fuck that. We're not even going to give you like the chance to join NATO, even though you guys don't want to. We're not even going to give you the chance because we're going to fucking take you over,
you're
motherfucker.
saying they were never going to join NATO? So
I don't
why
know
is
if
that
that.
even part of the conversation?
Hold on. I didn't say never, right? We don't know what would have happened in 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years, right? We don't know how the public perception in Ukraine would have changed, right? But as it stands right now, their hand was not forced by Ukraine joining NATO because number one, they couldn't have joined NATO because they already had an active like border dispute, right, over Donetsk and Luhansk with Russia, right? It was impossible
Listen,
for them to
Sonzo,
join
okay,
NATO.
I
That was
don't
against the rules of NATO to join if you already have border disputes because NATO doesn't want to get into like a fucking like massive war with a country because they like let someone in that has a border dispute, right? And on top of that, the people in Ukraine didn't want to join NATO. So if you're going to like use this line that their hand was forced, I would ask how, because they couldn't have joined NATO and they didn't want to join NATO until after Russia invaded.
they weren't discussing it at that already. Like they weren't. Even if the people
No,
didn't support it, does that necessarily mean that it can't go through at the same time?
there
Like,
was talks of them like wanting to perhaps, but when you look at the fucking situation on the ground, they couldn't have joined NATO because everybody in Ukraine didn't want it. The majority of people wouldn't have voted to join NATO.
okay, I don't know exactly to the
Yeah,
extent.
you
that the
don't know
American
because you're
government.
using talking points that you hear from other people. You haven't looked into any of this shit yourself.
Sure, I don't know how far they went with the NATO agreement. I don't know exactly what went on, but I assume that there were talks of Ukraine joining NATO back then, and I assume the American government wanted it to
There
go
were
through. And
talks
then
of
Russia said,
there were talks of Ukraine joining NATO in fucking 2008, but they
"Okay, so
never
you're saying
did.
that So you're saying that you just think that this is all just they just wanted to invade anyway, and it never mattered about NATO even.
This okay. I don't think that they wanted to invade, but
Didn't
once
they
well,
say
hold
they
on,
would?
hold on, really quick. I don't think that they wanted to invade originally, but when the guy that was very, very like pro-Russian, that was their leader, I can't remember his name, like it starts with a Y, I think. When he invaded or when he left office because there was a fucking revolt against him, like going against the wishes of the people in that country, right? When he left in his fucking helicopter in the middle of the night to flee to Russia, the people fucking spoke. They said we want to trade with the West. They will give us better economic opportunities. They will give us better deals. They will make our quality of life go up better than what Russia will offer us. He said,
yeah, great.
no, we're going to...
They wanted to trade with the West, but they don't... That's like not their place to say or the West's place to say necessarily. And so
the people of Ukraine don't get to fucking like choose what group of people they want to trade with? Who gets to choose for them?
Yeah, they can choose with the risk that comes with it. Yeah, okay. Sure.
I don't know if they like knew that Russia was going to fucking start like invading them because of it.
Again, I don't know exactly the American government's talks with Ukraine about joining NATO and how far that whole thing went. I mean, you're saying the people voted for it though, or no?
No, they never even brought to referendum because the like polling in Ukraine before the war said that the majority of people in Ukraine did not want to join NATO. They would not have voted for it.
Isn't it true that he would have never done this if NATO wasn't ever even like a conversation? Like, don't they? Isn't this only happening literally because of NATO?
No.
He wouldn't back off if the American government said, "Okay, Ukraine's not joining NATO."
No, because he wanted there to be economic control. He wanted to have some sort of like implicit control, like he does in Belarus. In Belarus, he has implicit control over that place because the guy, Lukashenko was like this weird free agent, right? Where he was kind of like flirting with the West. He was kind of flirting with Russia because he didn't want to be beholden to anyone. But then his people in, I think it was in 2020, had this big fucking uprising.
Oh, they demanded.
Hold on, wait, really quick. I'm just giving you like literal facts, okay? There was an uprising in Belarus, and Lukashenko had to ask Russia for fucking help putting the fucking uprising down. And because of that, he owes fucking
I don't know who Lukashenko is.
Yeah, he's the leader of Belarus, right? Okay, and because he owes this massive favor to Putin, because Putin made it to where he still had power in Belarus and he didn't get killed by his own people for fucking them over multiple fucking times, right? Now it's a fucking like extra dictatorship where it was a dictatorship before. Now they're fucking cracking people's skulls in the streets with fucking Russian troops, right? Now Belarus is implicitly and basically explicitly controlled by Russia, right? That's what Russia wanted to do with fucking Ukraine. They wanted to have implicit and basically explicit control over Ukraine. That's what they had with Yanukovych.
Don't you think it makes sense that they'd rather have control of those countries than give them to the West and just cede them to the West?
Yes, you're right. I can simultaneously accept. I can understand what their position is while also saying that them invading Ukraine was bad. And this is what I would say. If they went through and they offered a better economic deal to Ukraine than the West did, right?
That's not possible. Are you serious? You think that's even possible?
It is possible. If they like created like an economic bloc with like Belarus, Ukraine, Russia, fucking Kazakhstan, fucking China, possibly North Korea, if they like put all these countries together and create like a massive power
Russia
bloc.
Does not have the economy that America has, right? Like,
well, I mean, like that's also fucking Putin's own fault because he like gives way too much power to these fucking oligarchs instead of like liberalizing trade to the point where like they can actually economically grow. But that's a whole other fucking conversation.
Yeah, I don't want to stay on. I don't want to talk forever about this topic. But can I just read this? This says Russia accused Ukraine of building up a military of their own and demanded legal guarantees that it would never join NATO. So, I mean, if they just gave them the legal guarantees, you think this still would have happened?
The legal guarantees? That was already that was after they fucking invaded and annexed Crimea. Why the fuck? Why the fuck would they like give Russia any guarantees when Russia is giving them guarantees that like we're totally willing to invade and annex your fucking territory? They have no reason to. Yes, it was after.
Okay, they wanted the legal guarantees after. Okay, so what? I mean,
because why the fuck would Ukraine trust Russia after that? To not invade them. They already had a legal agreement that Ukraine gave up all of their, do you know this? Ukraine gave up all of their nukes with an agreement that Russia would never invade them.
I did not know that. No,
yes, in the 90s, there is a literal, I think it's like the Budapest Memorandum or some shit. Maybe I have the wrong one. There's like lots of different treaties and shit that happened. But
yeah, but like you're talking about like a 30-year-old agreement, like okay,
yeah,
so
a 30-year-old agreement where they gave up their most fucking like guaranteed fucking way of making sure that they never get invaded by fucking anyone. Yeah, that should be a fucking major guarantee that you will never invade them if you give up your right to own fucking nuclear arms.
Yeah, I don't know. So you're saying that so you didn't answer me about NATO, I guess. I don't know.
Wait,
I don't
which
even know
part?
what to say about that. Guarantee about the missiles.
Like I said earlier, there is no reason after they've already invaded Ukraine and annexed part of their territory that they would ever give a guarantee to Russia because hold on. Because Russia obviously has no intent on keeping their promises to Ukraine. So if they
can I just read this? I mean, you're just going on and on and on. I mean,
yeah, because I know more about this than you.
Okay, you know a little bit more about this, but your position is pro-American government and pro-lies and
in this case it's pro-Ukraine.
I don't want NATO to expand west. We can't have weapons on Russia's border. And here you are demanding that, and it's like,
we already have weapons on Russia's border.
Yeah, but that point is like nonsensical because
no, it's not nonsensical. We already have weapons on Russia's border.
Ukraine's got the biggest border, man.
It doesn't matter because the biggest issue with fucking like someone joining NATO is having like access to having like cruise missiles that can travel supersonically with a nuclear warhead. That would be the fucking warrior. Because they are part of NATO, we can put nukes there anytime we want.
Do they have nukes there though?
No, and neither does Ukraine.
When did Estonia even join NATO?
Like 2004.
Okay, forever ago. Okay.
Yeah. Just because Ukraine joins NATO doesn't mean that they're going to get nukes. But we have the ability right now in Latvia, in Estonia, to fucking put nukes there. But guess what? We haven't. Because we don't want to go to war with Russia. But Russia is intent on creating this fucking power block.
This power block of Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia, you're saying?
And Kazakhstan and probably like some of the other like former states, possibly like Moldova, like the breakaway state there, Transnistria or some shit. They would probably try and get like as many countries as possible to join them there. Yeah, for sure.
You're saying Moldova too? Breakaway state of Moldova, some breakaway. So the power block of Russia, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Belarus,
and possibly China if they want to create like an Eastern power block to combat the West.
What is this? Yeah. This is just like fantasy about these power blocks, man. Like what is?
Yeah, it is a fantasy because Russia can't even fucking like. They can't even fucking handle their own country. They can't even grow their economy themselves because they're so intent on giving all the power to the fucking oligarchs rather than just like liberalizing trade and making it to where their citizens actually get a high quality of life. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, no fucking shit. It is a fucking fantasy, but it's not a fantasy in the idea that they could grow their fucking economy to where they could combat the West. They're just doing it through fucking force of power, like military rather than economic power where they're actually making good economic moves.
He warned NATO against deploying its troops and weapons to Ukraine.
Yeah, and we
saying it represented a red line for Russia.
Yeah, and we never did.
Strong response.
Yeah, we never did.
Oh, okay, well that's good at least. We just sent aid there. We just had to.
We gave them weapons. We never put boots on the ground. We never put NATO troops on the ground. NATO itself has never sent weapons over to Ukraine. We have our own, like NATO has its own like separate stores of like weapons and fucking soldiers that everyone contributes.
Okay, sure, Sondsol. Yeah, I don't know. I'll read up on this all.
Yeah, you really fucking should if you're gonna go into fucking arguments, making these strong.
I mean, I just know the basics. I don't know. I can't give you like a whole history of the whole region and like what exactly is going on with.
Yeah, but that's kind of what you need. But you know just enough to defend the Russian government because you fucking hate America.
Well, I think that what's going on there is so okay. Just to be clear, then, with your position, you're saying that even if they never wanted to join NATO, they would still
not necessarily invade. Not necessarily invaded. They would have tried to exert like extreme economic and like political power over them in the way that they already had been up to 2014. Yeah. in the same way that they do in fucking Belarus, in the same way that they do in Kazakhstan. They haven't invaded Belarus or Kazakhstan, but they have like basic control over those
point that
places.
made Putin go over and declare war? Actually,
it was probably the fact. That's still up for debate. Like nobody has like an exact reason because Putin, like all we can go off is Putin's word, but none of the reasons that he gave are actually like logically follow because all of the reasons that he gave are really fucking stupid. Whether or not or whatever the reason is, or whatever the actual reason, or whatever like Machiavellian plans that he had are all backfiring towards him because he can't fucking like he already had a fucking military that he thought was way fucking cooler than it was, but like now they're giving out fucking rusted fucking AK-47s to people that looks like a level 1 wet characters.
Why is this like a talking point? Where did you see these rusted AK-47s?
Have you really not seen the videos? Like
there's
posted
videos of them. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
like they're like the Russian conscripts are like taking videos of their rusted AK. Like it looks like they've been stored underwater. It's like fucking insane. Even the bullets are rusted. And I don't know how the fuck you get a bullet to rust. Like all you have to do is keep it inside the box in a dry room.
I don't know. I think so you're just saying that he's using this military alliance just to masquerade secret intentions?
I don't know if it's even secret. I think that he's been like pretty explicit over the past couple of years that he wants to create his own like little power block, and that the West is like exuding too much power abroad, and he thinks that that Russia should be able to like achieve some amount of power that it used to have. Yeah, he's been pretty clear about that over the past like 2 decades, and he's been way smarter about it than he has been in the past 2 years. In the past, he's done like the invasion and fucking like breakaway state, then hold false.
Could the American government just give him the guarantees to not join NATO and then it would be all over? Or
no, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, you would never say that.
But I don't think that. But like, I don't think that I don't know. Like, I think that the reason that he invaded is because he saw that there was like no way for him to gain that political power in the way that he had been building up for the past like 20 years in Ukraine, right? Where he was exuding soft power there like for so long, right? And once that slipped through his fingers and he couldn't see any real way to get it back, he couldn't, he basically had no other, like recourse. He like decided to invade rather than like focusing inward and trying to build Russia's economy up, trying to build Belarus and Kazakhstan and possibly like create like giant power blocks with China and North Korea and not Italy. What's the India? Yeah, but anyways, okay, we're looping.
Okay, yeah, sure, Sondsol. I don't know. Okay, well, I hope that during this conversation, I guess I don't want to talk anymore. We've been talking for a significant amount of time now, so
yeah. Well, listen,
I hope you're doing good. The fact that what you were saying about parents earlier. It was bizarre, man. You shouldn't say that, seriously.
We'll talk about that next time, okay? Not that parents are stupid. I think that parents are like very prone to like thinking that there's a horrible fucking thing happening when it's really not, because they're very concerned for their children. But that just because they have concern for their children doesn't mean that that concern is like real. Just like people saying that there's razor blades and fucking caramel apples during Halloween, that doesn't really fucking happen. Right?
Okay, so they're not. So you wouldn't say they're stupid, right? They're just misinformed or something.
They're misinformed to the point of being stupid. If I'm like, I'll say that. Okay, like, listen. This is what I'll say. This is what I'll say. I'll be like mean about it, and I'll say that parents are fucking stupid. But the real take is that they're like very concerned about things that they probably shouldn't really be concerned about.
Okay, sure, yeah. For me, if I was ever to be a teacher, I would not go around saying, or I don't know what you're exactly doing, but I would never say, oh, parents are stupid. I'd be like nervous to say that, man. What the hell?
Well, yeah, but I'm not a teacher yet, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. I'm a Twitch streamer, right, buddy?
Okay, sure. Yeah, sure. All right. Well, anyways, thank
you
for the conversation.
All right.
I hope you learned. I learned a little about Russia, I guess. I've got to learn more about Russia as time goes on, but anyways, yeah.
All right. Catch you later, buddy.
Have a good day.